14th, year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, 2020. Lock it down, rock and roll. We're on the StreamYard. We got new logos dancing around. How about it? Fantastic smoothie, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you can see it here. Be all right, folks. Let's just double check. Got it all right on. Fantastic smoothie. Let's share this out. The social media. Ooh, brain freeze. Brain freeze. Brain freeze. Boom, 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 boom. What was this? YouTube. It's our tube, YouTube. Huh. Still no comments. This is weird. What's going on? Hold on. Let's go here. 71,486 subscribers, which is nice, but we've been in the 71,400 range for like a couple weeks now. This should be crossing 72,000 quickly. YouTube is not playing nice. Not playing nice. Let's see.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, we don't want that. How come this isn't? What's up, Jenny Miko? How you doing? Can you see her and hear me all right, Jenny? I'm gonna see what's going on there. I am live. Okay, we are live.
I'm gonna see.
Whoa, we don't want to listen to that. Nope. Hello, Angel, Farkas, Garvey. Everything's great. You can hear me. Aditya Iyengar, right on. Sky Island. Hello, Sky Island. That's a great Twitter or whatever handle. Welcome to Sky Island, the island of Sky. I'm going to share this live stream right now. We're going to bring Jason Bermas on the show in a few minutes. Boom, 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 boom. What's up? Hello, Den. Oh, Sky Island, right on. You have a Miyazaki. It's cool. The most powerful man in the Middle East is not MBS. It's Mohammed bin Zayed. Oh, interesting. Vector Surge, what's up? Cat B, what's up? Hello, Vigilantes. Backyard Politics, what's up, Nikki? Hello from Scotland. I love this. We're all over the place. Oregon, Scotland. I'm here in smoothie heaven. Ow. Unsweetened organic almond milk. Frozen organic pineapple. Aloha. Frozen organic banana. Frozen organic blueberries. Frozen baby greens. unsweetened organic peanut butter. And vegan protein powder. Fantastic. I just want to mention that UFOs are real. Thank you. I agree. No notification from Sandine. Oh, man, that's so messed up. Hello from Ontario, Progressive Canada. Right on, Cirrus. UFOs do not mean alien. Maybe. Mars checking in. Good that you're here from Mars. Good to have you. All right, everybody, hit the like button. As soon as we get the numbers up in a touch more, we'll bring Jason into this program. Share this on your social media. 25 likes, 68 people watching. Let's go. WAN chat, Theranol, read my email. Okay, brother, I will. I saw one less than 100 feet away from me in 2011. Oh, wow. Not true. Look at the Pentagon news. All right. Good day from Central New South Wales. Graham, are you all right, Snarkathon? I know. Is it just Victoria that's having all the problems in Australia, or is New South Wales having problems too? Why are people calling Kamala a Marxist? Oh God, that's so hilarious. That the Fox News crowd is like, Joe Biden and Kamala are Marxists. Like, just read like a page of Karl Marx's book and you'll see that they're the two most corporate neoliberal people. That is hilarious to me. You see how the corporate media keeps everybody divided. Because now you've got the right, the red staters all scared that Marxists are coming. It's like, no. Hey, Trump or Biden, Pence, Harris, they're all going to screw you. You're all going to get screwed. There's none of these people are even remotely. God, I wish she was a Marxist. Then I'd be on board with her. Then she wouldn't have let Steve Mnuchin steal my house. Marxist. Sure she is. Oh, unbelievable. Maria Rinaldi, shave your knuckles for justice. Ciao, Graham. Nice to see you. Ciao, Bella. Ciao, Bella, Maria. Thank you so much. Don't you guys like the StreamYard? I can put her thing right on there. It's like fancying it up. Provide proof you're pissing in the wind. I don't need to prove that. I'm not going to piss in the wind. That's weird. I know what you're saying. I sent them by the website. Please, Sunrise Movement make me feel both angry and sad. Oh, I know. I was excited about them. And then, no. Am I going to the People's Party convention? I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't officially been invited. So I don't know. All right, let me go grab some water. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll bring Jason on the program in a second. By the way, this was a delicious smoothie. All right. All right. Boom. How do we do that? Pow. Boom. There it is. Hey, Graham, the weirdest thing about UFO records is that even though the tech is way beyond us, the materials are typically found on Earth. So dimensional time displacement devices? Could be. Ghislaine Maxwell was never in custody. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. We've seen no there's no mugshot. There's no nothing. There's a sketch from her Zoom court appearance last month. That's the best we've got. Interesting. Yeah, never had any actual proof that she was in custody. None. We're all supposed to believe this. Okay. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. 135 watching, 50 likes. Let's get the like button up there. Save this or share this on your social media. Maxwell will die of natural causes. Yes, she's gonna feel so bad about herself. She's gonna find a paper T-shirt, and God only knows what happens when you get a hold of a paper T-shirt. They're the most dangerous T-shirts known to man. FBI had her the day Epstein was arrested last year in the tarmac. She's in the wind. Yeah, I know. This is all very. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring about the program. Jason Bermas. Jason, can you hear me?
I can, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, thank you for joining us today, my friend. Welcome to the program, Jason Bermas. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Grab Elwood. I don't know why I'm feeling very morning DJ today. You know, Jason, traffic out the fives. We're going to just go where I'm at Toyota of Glendale giving out some political vigilante koozies. That's what I feel like. I feel like we should be more morning DJ-ish. So let's make sure we can hear you, my friend. Give us some levels.
You got it. You know, let's talk about the UFO thing for a second. You got some good stuff right in that very beginning, right? So I would encourage people to go check out Annie Jacobson's book, Area 51, among all of her other books, which are also amazing because she's done them on DARPA and she's done them on Project Paperclip, and they all really intertwine. You know, the way the Area 51 comes to being out of this post-nuclear bomb world and the Central Intelligence Agency and new propulsion systems, because you got to understand, Graham, the latest rocket that we've ever developed is the Saturn V from Werner von Braun. So I am really of the belief set, especially with the amount that I've looked into this. And I looked into this, I'm talking about from the time I was 10. You're about my age. Remember Read the Book, the Time Life series? The DJ, Read the Book. We had those when I was a kid. And aside from the goofy stuff, the UFO stuff always was very, very intriguing to me. And, you know, back when it wasn't covered as much, this idea of, you know, alien visitors, grays, the X-Files was big back then. And then eventually the idea of ancient aliens or ancient astronauts. I remember before the History Channel series, there's actually a late 90s documentary that was based on Von Daniken's work. And I've sat down with William Henry years ago. I've sat down with Jordan Maxwell. And I just got to be honest, the vast majority of what I think goes on there is disinformation. I encourage people to go check out Mirage Men, an amazing documentary you can watch on YouTube for free to show you how the Pentagon does it, and the cover up of other technologies, other propulsion systems outside of space rockets. That's all a scam, man. You think Elon Musk is going to the moon or he's going to Mars with rockets? No, he's putting up Starlink the same time that DARPA's putting up their satellite figure, and he's pushing Neuralink. He knows he's not going to Mars. I mean, even the Russians have called him out for weaponizing space. He's not terraforming Mars or the moon or any of that Johnny nonsense. This goes back even to the Star Wars program in the 80s that did not fail through Reagan. So I encourage people to just look up everything I just said there and then start making some informed decisions on why the History Channel turned from a program that told you about banking takeovers, World War I, the Nazis, into 90% ancient aliens and ghosts.
Oh, interesting. Because I remember when I was a real little kid, there was a TV show called, what was it, Operation Blue Book or whatever, about the, and it was the whole program was to debunk actual alien interaction, which made me always go, wait a minute. So they have interacted with us, and the government wants us to just pretend they didn't, or say, oh, it was a weather balloon, or, you know, some hillbilly in a boat saw a shooting star and lost, you know, freaked out or whatever. But what you're saying is, so what is your personal, it sounds like you've done way more research. I'm not that big into the UFO world, so I'm very curious to hear about this. I believe that there has to be intelligent life in the universe, because if the human race on this dumb planet is the smartest beings in the universe, wow, are we in trouble? Then this universe that like is like we're the trailer park of the universe. I mean, we're the Earth is the Florida of the whole universe. So I hope there's people smarter than the human race that just murders each other for money and fuel and and greed. Like, I hope there's not an alien race of horrific sex traffickers like the ruling class on this planet. So, what is your personal belief based on? It sounds like a fair amount of research that you've done.
Yeah, one of the other guys I sat down with for a long time that did great work on this was Jim Mars before he passed. I met Jim several times. I love Jim Mars. Rest in peace, brother. I would say this: anything is probable, Graham. And in infinite space, it would be, I guess, how do I say this? Almost impossible for us to be the only intelligent beings out there. Now, that being said, everything is kind of at a wacky point right now, right? What is mainline science telling us about artificial intelligence and quantum computing that's bringing that? Well, it's reaching into the multiverse, this infinite verse that we've been told about through fiction for decade upon decade, where every single outcome to the fraction minutia happens and then multiplies out. So that kind of takes away the idea that, interdimensional travel is anything more than just everything happening in a simulation. Simulation theory is another thing they're putting out there. Musk has talked about the possibility of us living in a hologram and space being a hologram. I don't know what's up, but I will say I do believe the vast, vast majority of this stuff is terrestrial. For instance, again, if we're going to believe in ancient aliens, is that much different than believing in angels and demons? I just think that a lot of people take everything to almost a religious level, right? Because even when we get into the idea of the creation of man and the absence of intelligent design or the possibility of God or any of that, what do we get with science? We get this magical bang that somehow we can read through radiation waves that started life in a multiverse or a universe or whatever out of nothing. So no matter who you are or what you are, in my opinion, if you hold those beliefs as definites, you believe some goofy stuff, like with that big controversy, for instance, Graham, with America's frontline doctors and this woman, who's from Africa, who believes in demon semen and these, beings raping people. The only thing I'm really concerned about there is, did she treat 350 people with hydroxychloroquine or not? Because are we all of a sudden going to discount every Mormon doctor out there because he believes in Joseph Smith and magic golden tablets? My point is that when we get to those beliefs,
Christian that believes that Jesus turned water into wine. I mean,
all of it, right? All of it. At some level, you go from the natural to the supernatural, from the explainable to the unexplainable. And, somewhere in there, we all have these beliefs. And I really do feel like, especially with aliens, with the push, man, you remember as a kid, E.T. was the biggest thing out there. If you were a little bit more adult, Steven Spielberg had Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And, these are people that have built media empires that have obviously interacted with intelligence. I mean, you look at his World War II movies, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, they're extremely well done, but only tell a certain sector of history. And they get you very emotional about it. So I would just warn people, especially with that and the disclosure. Now we have off-world craft. Again, they haven't publicly disclosed a military aircraft since the stealth bomber during the Gulf War. Think about what your telephone and your television looked like during the Gulf War and where we are today. Do you believe that? Take a step back. What do you really believe? Do you believe we haven't had a new rocket since literally the 60s? Do you believe that there are no other propulsion systems? I mean, I don't believe those things.
Hold on, Jason. It's not like we outspend the next 10 countries combined on military. So it's not like we've been pouring all this money into it. So I kind of believe that, we just, our military program is just barely getting by. We're this mom and pop that needs to have a GoFundMe every couple of days. That's why they spent $1.5 trillion on the F-35, which again, we don't know much about it, as you just said. And, oh man, But we are supposed to believe all these billionaires, Elon Musk and Bill Gates. They're just fun-loving nerds, right? They're just fun-loving nerds. They're good. They're good, solid people, right? Isn't that what we're all supposed to believe in the media outlets that they all own? So
well, let's talk about that for a second, because those guys are really kind of just the social climbers in the predator class. They
Right.
had affluent parents that were somewhere in the levels, kind of like if you went back in time and you got to Prescott Bush, right?
Mhm.
Prescott Bush, his parents were well off, but they weren't great, but they got him into Yale. And he was able to get into Skull and Bones. And from Skull and Bones, he married into another Skull and Bones family. And then all of a sudden, he's in Averell Harriman banking and he's cutting deals with Nazis. And all of a sudden, he comes up and his son comes up, George H.W. Bush. You know, these dynasties are often social climbing predator class. That's what you see with Bill Gates. Okay. And when you see something like a Google, right, to kind of bring this back into space, today, they updated their terms of service, and it is so in line with Pentagon propaganda and counterintelligence, the document behind me, because it now bans you from discussing content. Basically, we will remove content that contains hacked information, the disclosure of which may interfere with the democratic process, such as elections and censuses. So basically, they're banning any type of information that does not come from official sources. They've already pushed the authoritative sources line, etc. Well, unfortunately for people, you know, especially the MAGA crowd that wants to believe that Donald Trump's going to save the day and, you know, he's fighting the deep state. Well, you go to their own national counterintelligence strategy, Graham, and let's type it in.
Okay.
It's not news because they have the same line as Google. They want to treat hacktivists, leaktivists, and public disclosure organizations as threats like the Lebanese Hezbollah, look what just happened in Lebanon, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, Cuba, Iran, North Korea. They've already put this stuff on paper. So you get to what is YouTube, what is Google, what is Alphabet, the alpha of these organizations, right? They all fit like a pyramid. They have their little front companies and LLCs they move people around in. But when we get to space, when we get to quantum computing, when we get to artificial intelligence, Google is the government. They are in bed with NASA on AI production. Okay. What is AI? The Pentagon, DARPA, they've openly said they want full spectrum dominance in this. So no matter who the president is, no matter who gets selected, because obviously Zombie Joe, I mean, he couldn't run a Wendy's right now, right? I mean, he could probably put them in the ground in 3 weeks, if that. Let's be 100% honest. And Kamala Harris was somebody that nobody wanted, but she is of that social predatory nature where she slept her way to the top through Willie Brown, you know, another one of these globalist guys, former mayor of San Francisco, guy who got a call on the morning of 9/11 not to get on the plane, Bohemian Grove Club member. That's a fact, Jack. Yes, he got a call on the morning of 9/11 not to fly that day. Reported all throughout the media, and he was confronted on it, and he tried to deny it. But you can look it up. It's the real deal. So Kamala Harris, I mean, she's almost as much of an empty vessel as Joe, only she's still, you know, visually, verbally, mentally there. And she's cutthroat, man. She wants that position.
Well, yeah, she's got more billionaire donors than anybody. I mean, like we could go on and on about her as the district attorney in San Francisco, who, you know, wouldn't prosecute pedophile priests and wouldn't put their names publicly when they did, you know, get arrested. I mean, it's not to mention the, you know, Steve Mnuchin donated to her campaign. She becomes attorney general. She has 1,000 documents that are clearly showing mortgage fraud, which is a felony. She could have put Mnuchin and Soros in jail for running One West Bank. Doesn't? Oh, weird. Then they donate to her senatorial campaign. She becomes senator. She votes to confirm Steve Mnuchin as treasurer. These are all wacky coincidences, Jason. You're just a tinfoil hat guy. That's what you do. You and you're crazy. What kind of a guy wears a t-shirt in front of a screen? What kind of a guy does that on YouTube? But let's get back here. You bring up a great point about Google and about and Oliver Stone, by the way, was just on RT talking about the military industrial complex. And he said it's not going to matter if it's Trump or Biden. It won't, because the war machine is going to keep going. I mean, The only reason they didn't impeach Trump in his first year on the emollients clause is because he didn't keep to his campaign promise of getting us out of these wars. Had he done that, they would have been like, oh, you're done. You know, you don't want to do war. You're gone. You are gone. Just ask the Kennedys. You're gone. So going back to Google, though, there's a fantastic book. Maybe you're aware of it, but if anyone in our audience who isn't, it's when WikiLeaks met Google, and it basically, Julian Assange talks about and goes in the history of Google and how they've been working hand in glove with CIA since at least 2011, if not earlier, because the CIA went, oh, wait a minute, Google we want back end access to all their stuff because they can give us all this data and surveil people. But I want to just let's come to a close on this UFO subject at least. So many you bring up such great points of how can we trust anybody with regard to this? How can we honestly sit there and they're going to tell us they haven't come up with a new rocket, they haven't put any money into this, they've just shut down the space program, they just that's not what we want to do anymore, which is like they want to dominate everything. And who knows what, and I don't want to get into the like there's aliens among lizard people. I don't want to play that thing, but like you bring up excellent facts and points here. So I mean, when all this pandemic, the way they were shutting it down and everything, I was like, okay, maybe this is a legitimate thing, or like I was like anything's possible. If spaceships fucking rose out of the Pacific Ocean, and I would have gone, oh, okay, got it. So that's what this was all about. Like I don't trust anyone in power for any reason. So based on all this information, do you think we have had contact, or our government or is at least aware of contact with alien life forms? I mean, or did we know they were going to attack us, and that's what this is all about? Or I mean, what is it?
Graham, I got to tell you, man. Again, I've looked at this forever, and I've seen the Admiral Byrd stuff, where supposedly on paper he flew into the center of the earth, and saw these. If you don't know about Admiral Byrd, I mean that's talking about turn of the century stuff, and flying into the hollow earth, just crazy stuff where. Those Nordic type aliens that supposedly Hitler believed in, right? If you've watched those old History Channel specials, even before the Ancient Alien stuff, they always talk about this super race and the Vril Society, etc. I don't know, man. It's very hard for me because the other thing that's very bizarre in history and untalked about and not pushed as much is the occultic nature of it, right? Even when you get to Christianity and how paganism was kind of pushed into that religion, obviously, Christmas being one of them, the date changed, the Christmas tree, the ornaments, etc., moving in, you can see that culturally. That a lot of these people that gravitate towards power do some weird stuff, right? They are into, the Marina Abramovic spirit cooking artwork. They are into Aleister Crowley, right? People seek power, even on lower levels. The average person that goes into these type of fraternities with Freemasonry, there's occultism there. There's different type of ritualistic behavior there, and it only exudes, right? We talked about Skull and Bones. Mm-hmm. That's a very small organization. I just did a watch along just earlier this week of my film Invisible Empire, which also includes somebody, I think it's almost a decade and a half ago now, who got on the top of the tomb and filmed one of the rituals. And, they're all dressed up and they've got mock sacrifices going, and the devil equals death and death equals the devil. It's all on camera. I own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the actual Bohemian Grove Annals, which was canceled for the first time ever this year with coronavirus. It started in 1872. And it's filled with occultic stuff, and them before even having the owl god, which they look to because it sees in the night and it's a predator, right? They used to have a giant Buddha statue where they would do a druidic ritual there. So instead of the cremation of care, they had something very similar. Why are these things going on throughout history, and why haven't we shed them as a society? And why is it that a lot of these people like to speak in hermetic symbolism? I'll never forget back in the day, we're talking over 10 years ago, during the first financial crisis, 2008, 2009, somebody asked Pelosi a pertinent question about the banking system and what was going on. And she kind of smirked up and she goes, "It sounds like the common people want the secrets to the temple." It's like, what the hell are you talking about? The secrets to the temple. So I'm just saying, when we get to aliens, when we get to mysticism, I've read a lot of it. Manly P. Hall, America's Secret Doctrine. I've sat down with a lot of these people. And again, who's to say what these things are if they actually have a physical manifestation in the world? If you're telling me you're from the, there's those that believe that Lucifer's an actual being, right? You go that deep, like Lucifer's an action. He's living on the Dog Star, the Twin Star Sirius. He's in that system. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I never promoted lizard people and the Anunnaki even before it was hip. That doesn't mean I discarded everything David Icke said in The Biggest Secret, because, he was one of the first guys to point to these royal pedophile rings, right? And we know about Lord Mountbatten, and the FBI knew about him back in the 50s. So, we live in a very bizarro world. And I think 2020 has kind of exuded that even more, right, Graham? Where you kind of do wake up and it's like, I'm in the Twilight Zone every day. So what's next? What is possible? And unfortunately, when you get down to the nitty gritty, like you said, the military industrial complex, the thing that Oliver Stone's talking about is they want all of us to be Julian Assange. They don't want any of us to be able to publish any documentation that can challenge any of the predator class in any nation state. And you talked about a book on Google. I encourage people to check this out. It's by Eric Schmidt, the founder, and Jared Cohen, another executive at Google, another CFR member. It's The New Digital Age. And they talk about Assange in this. And in 2013, they were talking about how the United States would want to go after people like Assange and bring them here and prosecute them heavily while promoting leaks that went against their enemies, namely China, right? And this is such a real issue, and that's why I work with the Action for Assange crew. I was actually out in D.C. During those first hearings with them, because nobody in the mainstream was covering it, right? And on top of that, it was right before this outbreak. I remember it was right before CPAC. Alex Jones ended up being in D.C., and I had my reunion with him just kind of out of nowhere. But they were there to talk about Roger Stone, who, by the way, his sentence was commuted. I made them talk about Julian Assange. I got news for you. Julian's still being tortured. He's still being muzzled. Okay, these hearings are happening in September, and it is the Trump administration, Rick Grenell and Bill Barr, that are behind these indictments and want him here just as much as anybody, Graham.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's the thing that's always so funny to me is just the QAnon crowd or whatever thinking that, Trump is, and it's just like, you're talking about William Barr. You're talking about a guy that's done nothing with Epstein, and we'll get into Ghislaine Maxwell in a little bit, but it's just fascinating to me that people think there's still these two parties, or there's somehow a difference between them, which is just it's insane to me. It is insane to listen to. So, all right, well, where can people, before we get on to the next subject, just give people some who are maybe new to this UFO and the intelligence community and the military industrial complex side, and give them just some sort of entry level 101 stuff to get more knowledgeable on this.
Sure. And again, I would say that Annie Jacobson, you check out any of her interviews on anything. You got to understand, for instance, Paperclip, which is kind of like preceding and into this. Project Paperclip post-World War II brings a bunch of these Nazi scientists over for NASA, but it also brings over a bunch of their intelligence officers to create from the OSS the Central Intelligence Agency. You know who else they used? Skull and Bones. Okay, Prescott Bush was so involved in that, and that's why I keep going back into him. So when you look at this and you look at the fights and the nature of, suppressing technology, think about legitimately how well the United States did suppress nuclear technology to other world powers. For a long time, it was really us and the Soviet Union. We're talking about a couple decades. That's more than impressive, maybe even 3 decades. So that shows you the power of disinformation. And then there's a film, again, I cannot push it enough, because Mirage Men takes you into the seat of somebody who was seeing this phenomenon, right? He was seeing these things. He went to the US military, and they saw an opportunity to exploit him because he had money, and for him to promote their propaganda that what he was seeing was not a military project, but in fact, alien beings. And so this guy thought he was a super secret spy guy working with the military on disclosure. People like Stephen Greer, who are meeting with Rockefellers, cannot be trusted. I have watched Stephen Greer for 30 years, from his rise to fame when he was just doing Larry King shows when there was 15 stations on television, Graham. And I got to tell you, I've never trusted the guy. I still don't trust the guy. I think, and maybe someone will give me flack for this, but I think, he's a guy with a family. He's a doctor, but I think he's also a closeted homosexual. And why does that matter? Well, if you're closeted, they often use that against you. In other words, you don't want something to come out about your personal life. And I mean, you watch his first movie that he put out. It was, I'm not sure if it was Disclosure. I've watched them all. But his bodyguard, if him and his bodyguard are not romantically involved, I will eat a raw salmon here on air. Bone and all. I'm just saying, the guy doesn't seem honest. I remember way back in the day when he was confronted about 9/11 being a false flag operation, when people were actually asking hard questions, his eyes lit up. He's like, well, he didn't want to talk about it. And then later on, he puts it in his film, right? He also put the Bohemian Grove in his film too. So, I guess basic level, guys, don't just believe everything you see on the History Channel. Do your own research. I've read through the Blue Book documents. Okay. I've read through the, what are they? The Majestic 12 documents. Do you know about those, Graham?
Mm-mm.
So the Majestic 12 documents are probably a hoax, but if you want like the super sci-fi aliens visited, crashed in Roswell, Einstein new version, and Eisenhower was involved, there's these set of documents, Magic 12, supposedly a clearance within the military, that tells that story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, you really have to spend a ton of stuff, but it gives, if you think about it, if you've got, just like now, you got an invisible enemy, right? People are wearing masks and Zoom meetings in Wisconsin right now, Graham. Mm-hmm. And this enemy never has to go away. You never actually have to see it, right? You just need some push on the television for that fear, fear, fear. And I think we've seen something very, very similar with the majority of what goes on with UFOs and aliens.
Interesting. All right, Jason Bermas. Yeah, thanks for bringing all that. It's valid. And somebody being in the closet, there's nothing bad or wrong with that, but you're right. They will use whatever they can against you, and whatever, if you don't want to talk about something, or you're keeping something in your life hidden, they will use it against you. They will use it as leverage. But I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Political Vigilante with Graham Elwood. I'm here with Jason Bermas, and I wanted to talk to you about, because you and I have both covered Epstein, and Jolene got arrested a little over a month ago, and arrested. So we haven't seen her. All that we've seen is a sketch of her in a Zoom trial. Mm-hmm. We've seen no photographs. We've seen nothing. Her trial is set for next year. Mm-hmm. They've released some documents, but then this Judge Preska, who's got a history of kind of protecting people with regard to documents, protecting Epstein people, basically, won't release all of the documents. And so this is really like, and of course, the documents that were released, they always sort of frame the thing with Epstein. You can talk. We'll let you talk about this. We'll let you talk about that. Even the Netflix special is like, we'll let the victims speak, which is great. And the victims would bring up some pretty, severe stuff, and then they would just move on to it. They wouldn't go into the documentary. Didn't be like, well, wait a minute, the Clintons, there's all this evidence, and Al Gore, and all these. Nope. They just sort of mention it and move on. And it's the same thing when these documents are released. It's like, Bill's on the plane 26 times. Hillary's on twice. The both of them are at his compound in New Mexico numerous times. Ghislaine Maxwell was at their daughter's wedding. They don't talk about any of that. They don't talk about William Barr and Acosta giving Epstein helping him get a sweetheart due in 2009. They don't talk about Ivanka Trump and Jillian going out recruiting. You know, like they don't talk about how everybody in the ruling class, the Trumps, the Bushes, everybody has got some kind of connection to this. And there's never a mention of Les Wexner, despite the fact that Maria Farmer has said he's the head of the North American snake. Like he's never mentioned. I mean, never. So where do you see this? I mean, is she going to just get paper t-shirted in jail? Is she, you know, like what's going to happen? Is she, somebody proposed a theory that there might be something to this because she has stuff on both, you know, Biden and the Clintons and the Democratic Party and Trump and all these hardcore Republicans, that she's like bartering. So one of you better protect me. And if you don't, whoever protects me, I won't reveal that information. You know, because apparently she's got these hard drives of evidence, and you know she's obviously evil and mean, and will play whatever angle she's got to play, because she's a pedophile and a sex trafficker. So, how do you see all this playing out as somebody that's followed this pretty closely?
All right, so let's start all the way at her arrest, right? Mm-hmm. So it just so happened that when that was happening. I'm in New York State. I'm leaving. It's never been worse here. So I decided I was going to travel the country. I grabbed a car and I started in New Hampshire because I wanted to go visit my buddies, Eric and Mike Jackman. And it just so happened the day after I had planned my trip, they picked up Ghislaine Maxwell, where in New Hampshire, right outside of Keene. So we actually drove out there. And we drove out there the day after she got picked up. And basically she was in the woods. Right. But think about it. She was in a place in New Hampshire that was close to what? Boston, where she was identified as being with the same tech guy that set up a phony LLC and bought this house for her. OK, and this was immediately after Epstein was arrested. Right. The Daily Mail ran with that story. I reported on it. And within 3 days, that had been ignored. And they started talking about the In-N-Out burger photos that were over on the West Coast. All right. You got to think about that. So right away, you know, the media had a beat on her, okay, if in fact this is where she was. And I do believe this is where she was, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. So as we start going down, I lose cell phone service. So we recorded it mostly, and then we got it there. Your neighbors would have never known you were here. There were no sidewalks for at least 5 to 10 miles down the road. We're talking about wooded areas in the woods. So we get there, and there's already a few cars parked. The London Guardian was there. And they walked up the driveway. And remember, she had a big piece of stone that had tucked away carved in it. So they walk up about half a mile. They get to a fence. It's gated. Some guy with tattoos who'd worked there. So apparently said that he had been employed by her brother along with somebody else. They were switching shifts. And this was the person that was leaving and coming back. So she never, you know, ever left that property once she got there. Closed that deal in, I believe it was December, and started it in September. And remember, Epstein got picked up in July. So all this is moving pretty quick, paid in cash. Now, another guy comes up, and he's a city council member, and he does the same thing. He talks to me for a bit. He says that the guest house was the actual house there 2 years ago. So the entire huge house on top of the estate had just been built within probably the last 18 to 24 months. You have to ask yourself if, you know, they catered to this guy or her to build this place for. So she might have felt pretty comfortable, right? Then I realized that there's actually cell service right in front of her driveway. So almost nowhere else. And right there in front of her driveway, she does have cell service. So I do a quick deal, and then another neighbor comes out, and he's got drone footage of the thing. And I'll tell you what, man, from seeing the drone footage, from being there with the fence and talking to the neighbors across the street, I have really almost no doubt she was picked up. A lot of people were doubting. They hadn't seen the mugshot. They usually don't do that in federal cases. However, I also read a lot of the reasons why they chose. A lot of people were saying, well, they only charged her for the 94 to 97 crimes, right? What about all those crimes that happened in Florida? Well, they're really smart. They didn't want that non-prosecution agreement to come into play no matter what. So they framed these crimes around that non-prosecution agreement in case a judge would go after. So basically, it was pretty brilliant. I read it on air. So basically, the SDNY and the FBI made this document basically opposing anything the judge could possibly say that agreement that Epstein had made with Palm Beach in 2008 and the feds and Acosta, like you said, had any relevancy in this case. So she was taken in. We know about the hearing from Zoom. Now, some of the journalists that were there, as well as some of the victims who made impact statements, did say they saw her on that call. Whether or not she's in the Brooklyn facility or that call was from somewhere else or what we can believe, I don't know, because like you said, Bill Barr is about as sketchy as it comes. You get to Bill Barr. Bill Barr is the youngest attorney general ever under who? George H.W. Bush. By the way, Biden sat up there and told everybody what a great guy he was at his confirmation hearing where they didn't even hold a vote. It was the yays and nays. So that should show you how deep state Bill Barr is. He was in the CIA as he got his law degree, which he would later use at Kirkland and Ellis, one of the firms that defended Epstein. Okay. I mean, he actually had to talk about recusing himself possibly even before Epstein was arrested on several occasions when he was asked about the case. The other thing about Bill Barr is right before he was becoming that first attorney general under Bush 1, that Bush name, it just keeps coming up, that dynasty, those social climbers, was that he put in the paperwork with Robert Mueller, his best friend at the time, to bring Manuel Noriega over illegally. You know, the only difference between Manuel Noriega and Julian Assange on how they'll be treated is that Manuel Noriega actually ran black operations and drug running and arms dealing for them and was their asset. And Julian Assange actually exposed that type of behavior again and again, but they'll be treated the same regardless. It's frightening because it's true. And I did some videos on Bill Barr after that, where, you know, he's asked straight up whether Ghislaine Maxwell is going to remain alive, and he's laughing about it. And it's a big joke to him and the guy who's interviewing, because it is a big joke, right, Graham? I mean, this guy was supposedly reported at being at MCC before his first suicide attempt that didn't work, and then his second suicide attempt works. We don't have any cameras. We don't have any footage. Guards were asleep. And he's telling us, hey, he killed himself. We should trust Bill Barr. You know, and people, like you said, that want to be in that Q crowd and they're taking down the deep state and they got their Q decoder ring and they're on a message board, you know, they're ready for it. And what plays into that is the other side is so damn dishonest, right? With Russiagate, with Ukrainegate, with saying, I don't know how mail-in voting could be a fraud if it wasn't an absentee ballot. What are you talking about? And then Bill Barr just sits up there and talks about common sense things. And he looks like a superhero. I assure you he is not. So it's a great question because, like you said, the documents that keep getting leaked, they're overlapped, right? Other than right before Epstein killing himself, which did give us some new names. It gave us George Mitchell. It gave us Bill Richardson, right? It gave us Glenn Dubin. Now, these new documents, although it doesn't give a new name, I did see the possibility of a king who spoke Spanish in that same circle with Dershowitz and others that have been named. Other than that, it's only kind of window dressing of what all of us already knew. And they suppressed in the media, right? That Clinton was involved, that he did know Trump, that Hillary is involved, that Prince Andrew's involved. What they don't want to talk about are the intelligence networks. Like you said, banned on Netflix was any intelligence talk. However, Investigation Discovery did a 3-part series on Epstein. Didn't hear about that one. Led with Maria Farmer. Did talk about Wexner, pretty much covered everything other than the Acosta stuff. And I'm hoping they do a season 2 because they weren't afraid to talk about the Mossad. They weren't afraid to confront Mike Malloy, who wrote Filthy Rich with James Patterson about that possibility, to talk about Central Intelligence and stuff like that. So the Investigation Discovery series, Who Killed Jeffrey Epstein, 3 parts. You can watch that for free. And it didn't get the push the other ones did. I wonder why, Graham.
That's weird. You know, it's weird that one got buried. And then the one that just sort of, you know, I always like see what the propaganda is trying to do when something gets pushed on all of us. I always talk to some of my friends who are, you know, smart, decent people, but maybe they're not paying as much attention as we are. Maybe they're neoliberals, whatever. And I always ask them, what did you think? And I'll hear a couple of them say, yeah, but I mean, I watched that documentary and the Clintons, they just didn't know how bad he was. All right, there it is. I go, oh, that was the point of that Netflix documentary. there it is, to put that message out there. Just like with Harvey Weinstein, boy, we didn't know, even though he's donated $2.3 million to all these Democrats. We had no idea. Like, we're just supposed to continue to believe that. And I'm like, that's how effective the propaganda is. Like, when I heard a family member 4 years ago goes, yeah, but single payer healthcare is pie in the sky. I was like, those are the exact talking points. They're the exact talking points that the DNC puts out. I mean, I put this thing up on my screen numerous times, the propaganda multiplier. It comes down from the Pentagon, the CIA, and, you know, the White House, you know, and then they filter it down to Reuters and these other news organizations, the three main outlets, and then they get it to all the other news outlets. So then the average person thinks, well, look, they were talking about it on Fox and MSNBC, and Stephen Colbert made a joke about it, so it's got to be real. And it's like, no, they all were saying the exact same point. It all came from the same thing. And you're seeing this. The Epstein case is so, you see how sophisticated it is, because, and every time with the pedophile thing, they always try to seal it off. Kind of like with the cops, like just a bad apple. Well, we don't have systemic racism. We just had we had bad apple, you know, lone gunman, you know, they always try to seal it off in that same capacity. And like one of the things that came out in the Maria Farmer interview, that the connection that I made that I haven't heard anybody else make, was she talked about when she came forward in the 90s, she said, actually, the FBI was worse to me than Wexner and Jolene. And I said, who's the head of the FBI? Oh, it was Free. It was appointed by Bill Clinton. And I'm like, Judge Free, who did the Free report when they were saying that Penn State did. And I remember that back in 2011. And then the Free report came out in 2012. And I read most of the Free report. And at the time, I wasn't paying as much attention. I thought, well, he did a pretty good job. He showed how Joe Paterno, they showed all these emails and they knew. And now knowing what I know, I went, oh, that's what that Free report was. Joe Paterno should have done more. Joe Paterno, who's dead, and it sealed it off. And I'll never forget when I was like, wait, that's the same Judge Free. I remember what my friend Eric Oldenburg said, who was a former child crimes investigator. I had him on the show last year. This is what he said in 2011 when Penn State happened. I was in Phoenix doing shows when he was still on Phoenix PD, and we were talking about this, and he was currently at the time investigating that kind of stuff. He said, Graham, you have no idea. It's horrific. It's horrific. He told me about the websites where they would be auctioning kids off, but it would look like something else. That's why I wasn't shocked. Well, no, I was shocked, but not, it made sense to me, the Wayfair thing, like these cabinets for 15 grand called the Annette Wayfair cabinet or whatever, like at all. Everything my friend said to me in 2011, it all fell into place because he said, Graham, Sandusky was probably getting kids for alumni. And I went, what? He goes, the ring and the more powerful, he said, pedophiles come from every walk of life, every ethnicity, every gender, every sexual orientation. He goes, but the powerful people, they get away with it way more. And so it made all of this sense. So Sandusky goes to jail. We did it. We got the bad guy. Paterno passed away. Oh, too bad. He probably should have done more. Yay, Penn State football to the Rose Bowl. Like, let's just seal it off and forget about it. So that's the thing. They always frame it like that Prince Andrew BBC interview was a failed attempt, but it was so clearly Buckingham Palace going, hey, dude, you better get on camera and distance the palace from your friend Jolene and Epstein. And that's why he gave that nonsense. Oh, I lost my sweat glands in the war. I'd never wear a jacket outside in London. And, I guess I'm too honorable. Or she was a +1 or whatever that nonsense that he was saying. So what are you bringing up behind you that you want to show us?
So what I'm trying to show you right here is Jerry Sandusky did pimp out young boys to rich donors. I remember because I was one of the few people talking about it back in 2011. In fact, there were people that signed court affidavits that they were on planes with him and billionaire donors where they were having their ways with young boys. Now, that was the real scandal. Let's bring it all full circle. You're talking about Louis Free. You're talking about Sandusky and the fact that he was pimping these boys out. And folks, that's exactly what he was doing. In fact, Paterno tried to do something. And then what was his name? Mark. He was the redheaded coach. He did the right thing. He's the one that walked in on Sandusky and that young boy. He actually did go to the authorities. They're the ones that covered it up. And he and Paterno are the ones that took the flack in that Louis Freeh hit job. People should also understand, we've been talking about Bush Sr. a lot. Well, part of his 1,000 Points of Light Foundation was what? Sandusky's Second Mile Foundation, where he had ready access to young boys who were from what? Families that, you know, couldn't take care of them. They were from home.
Let me interject that real quick, because that's another valid point that my detective friend, now retired, but my Eric Oldenburg said on the show when the Sandusky thing happened and Sandusky's foundation, he goes, Graham, you show me 100 kids that were abused, 95, 99 of them will be from disadvantaged homes, because first of all, they know there's no parents around. So they start giving the kids gifts or whatever. So a kid with two parents that are paying attention comes home and says, oh, my football coach gave me a bike. They're going to be like, who's this guy? Wait a minute. But no parents around, you can do that. And then the kids that come from disadvantaged homes, or they were abandoned or abused, like physically, any affection, any attention in a child's brain, an undeveloped child's brain goes, oh, somebody likes me in some way, even if they're doing these weird, creepy things to me, you know. So they know that. Predators like Sandusky know that. And that's another thing. It's horrific, because there's organizations out there doing good work, helping disadvantaged kids. And then there's these predator class people that set these organizations up to basically scoop up kids. And that's what Sandusky was doing. But I wanted to point that out there, that's confirmed, that's a standard tactic by pedophiles, that a child crimes investigator confirmed for me years ago. Of like, he goes, no. And I said that when we were having this conversation in 2011, I was like, that's awful. He goes, yeah. He goes, every little league coach isn't bad or guilty or whatever, but pedophiles work their way into those things. They set up these and when they're powerful, they set these organizations up, and then they get them for the alumni. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go back to what you were saying about the 1,000 Points of Light.
Yeah, it's just these foundations. You're 100% right that they do set these up and they do work in these things. When you look at Barney Frank and the prostitution ring that was being run out of his DC home, it was also connected to Chevy Chase Middle School. That went nowhere. Think about that for a second. Look at Tom Foley, who back during the Chris Hansen days actually went on Chris Hansen and was championing all of this child abuse legislation, heading all these organizations, got caught trying to have sex with his 15-year-old pages. Mayor of Seattle, Ed Murray. Okay, Ed Murray, out of high school, was working at boys and girls clubs, had little brothers, and the multitude of abuse of children that he was accused of, off the charts. So there are these patterns here. And, you know, to kind of, again, bring it into these circles, bringing it back to the Bush era. You were talking about the Clintons. Well, George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton, they're not enemies. They're right. I mean, not only open in libraries together, people have to understand their synthesis in the 80s is what really brought this network out with its fangs. What do I mean? Where do you think the cocaine was going during Iran-Contra? It was going to Mena, Arkansas, while Bill Clinton was governor. Okay. And the FBI, I think 2-3 weeks ago, just released heavily redacted Barry Seal documents. And of course, they made that American-made movie about him, total whitewash of what was really going on there. But that network was named, lover or hater by Vicky Ward, basically saying that, not only was he involved in intelligence, aka Epstein, but he was working with Adnan Khashoggi. Well, Khashoggi was the front man for all this. He was facilitating Israel going in and buying all of these arms from Czechoslovakia and Poland. So there was basically plausible deniability of how they were paid for. They get the arms. They then ship those down to the Contras. Then the United States ships the cocaine and other drugs up through South America here, and then we would pay Khashoggi. Okay, that's how that would work. So there'd be this cycle and plausible deniability, and you would get the drugs in, you'd get the drug money, and everything was through a back door. And these organizations still exist today. That's why JP Morgan can find 20 tons of cocaine, over $1 billion in cocaine off the coast, and the boat's owned by billionaires, and they don't go to jail. This idea, Graham, that nobody's above the law. I see that talking point. Nobody's above the law. It's like, have you watched the last 2,000 years of documented history? Because I've seen a whole lot of people that are above the law, that continue to be above the law. You look at the outright nature of the Saudi Arabian royal family. That's ruled by bloodline, full nepotism, above the law. You can say that the royal bloodlines out in Europe have no power. I disagree with you, but does Prince Andrew look above the law to you yet? He's also their arms dealer. Right. Just so you know, he's cutting those $400+ billion arms deals with Saudi Arabia. What else is Adnan Khashoggi known for? Arms dealing. So this network has been so in your face for so long. I encourage people to go check out Hopsicker's Barry and the Boys. It's really tough to find, but there's a ton of stuff out there now on Barry Seal, or just start reading these documents and your jaw is going to drop, because this is the confirmation again that the United States government was running cocaine into airports in Mena, Arkansas. And of course, Bill Clinton was part of that operation. You get selected when you're a Rhodes Scholar. You get pushed when you're for Rockefeller and Ted Turner ideals. That's the reality of the situation, Graham. And that's the synthesis, right, of this true predator class of billionaires and their masters at the top. And then kind of like those Andrew Capo Cuomo minions, those Kamala Vampirus minions, those Pete Bootlicker, because you know they're giving Buttigieg some spot in this administration if they get it. That's a scary national security advisor, I promise you. And where do they come from? The same organizations. You know, Pete Bootlicker, he's just another Rhodes Scholar. He's just another talking head for this same media military industrial complex, Graham. And, you know, for now, we've got to use this platform, right? Because it's the second largest search engine in the world. It's the largest video platform out there, as much as we can. I've been demonetized for 4 months now. I think I'm on my way out, but I'm going to use it while I can, because I know how important it is to use the tools around you. You can use a hammer to build a house. It can bash someone's head in. Well, I'm trying to build a house of truth while they're trying to bash your brains out with cat videos all day.
Yeah, dude. But I see you're over at Rockfin, which is a smart move, because absolutely love what they're doing over there. It's blockchain, cryptocurrency. And I tell my audience, for $10 a month, you get all of our premium content, yours, mine, Richard Medhurst, Ron Placone, everybody else that's over there. So it's funny. It's like blockchain and crypto is the kryptonite to the ruling classes, you know, evil and crimes, because they control banking, they control the information, they control all this stuff. And that's why it's so important, I think, to get more involved in that. But Jason, before we let you go, man, thank you for spending all your time with us. Where can people watch more of your videos and follow you?
It is youtube.com/InfoWarrior, or you can just follow me on Twitter at Jason Bermas. I post most of those videos over there as well. I double stream, and I'm just trying to get the information out, man. All my documentary films, they're free. They're in the playlist section. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies. Fabled Enemies, guys, if you want to see Joey B, way before he was Zombie Joe, basically lie and cover up about the Pakistani involvement in 9/11 and funding the hijackers, I've been talking about Biden for 15 years. Please watch that. Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Again, all for free. I'm just trying to get the word out there, this information, because, Graham, like you know, man, it's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong always. And if we want even a semblance of our constitutional republic back at this point, we are going to have to fight extremely hard, like we've never fought before.
Yeah, it's happening, because there's 28 million evictions happening. The economy is going to completely collapse regardless of who's in the White House. And then what? I mean, like, and they're already bringing military against their own people. So like anyone that doesn't get it yet, like the Trumpers who are like, good, they're knocking around those liberals in Portland. Well, they're going to come for you, friend. They're going to come evict your house, and you're going to get snatched up in an unmarked van, and they won't care if you got an American Eagle MAGA hat. They're not going to care. They're not going to care if you have a I'm with her shirt. They're not going to care. They're not going to care at all. They're just going to snatch you up. And the more people wake up to that fact, that this two-party system is professional wrestling, that they want us divided, they want us fighting with each other, because what's really happening is, you know, they're getting children to go on billionaires' planes. They're raping and selling children around the planet. And then they keep us distracted with, oh, Tucker Carlson mispronounced Kamala Harris's name or what, like, like, okay. Like, yeah, of course he did. Who cares? I mean, like, a guy on Fox News said something stupid. What? That's the first time that's happened. Like, no way. And then the CNN has this panel of Hillary people. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But like, Jason, thanks for taking time out of your day, dude. It's good to see you. And, thanks for coming on my show. Whenever you want me to come back on yours, you let me know.
When you come back on, we're talking Stanley Kubrick. That's another thing I can rattle off forever. All right.
Yeah, he's the one who said the whole world's run by pedophiles. He said that.
I mean, again, Stanley Kubrick, very prophetic. To this day, Dr. Strangelove, a black and white film that is probably 50 to 60 years old at this point. It's got to be like 1960s. If that, it is incredible. It's not only watchable, it's extremely relevant today. People, go check it out. Thank you, Graham.
Thanks, brother. We'll see you soon. Jason Bermas, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. It's always cool. Stanley Kubrick is right on. Consumer driven will kill us all. Thank you so much, folks, that was cool. We had him on for an hour. Some of you asked to have him back. I'd been on his show before, like last year or something, but he's never been on this one. And some of you asked a couple weeks ago, and so we made it happen. Thank you so much. Snork White 2K, we're with her is going to be changed to he sniffed me. All right, so let's go let me answer all the super chats. Sorry, there's a whole thanks everybody. Why does it keep doing this? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get. Let me just get a list of all of the super chats. Thanks everybody for coming on the show. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. 487 watching, 264 likes. Ooh, my light is starting to die. Thank you. Dankeschön. Hold on. I got to find this. I don't know why suddenly today YouTube is like... Today it's not... Hold on. Wow, this is not what I'm trying to get at. Why does YouTube just change? Like, oh, it's always so easy to get it, and now today... All right. Okay. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Where are all the super chats? Nope, that's not what I want. Oh God, you could just drive me fucking nuts. You used to be able to get all the super chats in one place, and now I can't. It's fucking retarded. Sorry, don't say that. Hello. Graham is practicing being a statue. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm a statue. 422 watching. I don't know why. Classic streaming. There we go. You're going to be. Just let me. God, there it is. That's all I needed. All I needed, robots. Here we go. Okay. I can't put on them, all of them on the screen because this thing about StreamYard, I'm just learning. StreamYard, the super chats, like when I'm talking to Jason for like an hour and a guest like that, there's not, I can't like go archive the super chats and put them all on the screen when I answer them. I only can do that in real time. So I have to go back and get them. I can't, unless there's a way to do that in StreamYard. I'm not aware of it. I'm going to go in reverse order. Mad ass, shave your knuckles for justice. My girlfriend is a tea snob and she loves the Dark Knight, dude. Good stuff. You got it, brother. Guys, I just shipped a couple more orders today. Kate, yours is in the mail. Is the Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. Black tea with some hints of fruit in there, infused with fruit. There's only about 20 some left because I only have 50 made. So order them at grahamelwood.com. They're $20, free shipping. And if you can add one of my DVDs for an extra $5. So for $25, you get tea and a DVD. You can add one of my t-shirts for 10. So for $30, you get tea and a t-shirt, double T's, TT. And everything ships post office, union labor, save the post office. And I ship using recycled material packaging. Chris Walker, shave your knuckles for justice. Will Trump call out Kamala Willie Brown affair? I most assuredly, he's going to call out Biden's dementia. He's going to call out Kamala arresting people, probably. I mean, like, he's going to just say whatever. I mean, it's like, the Democrats. They just don't like winning. AOJ, what's up? Shave your knuckles for justice. If Malcolm X was alive, he'd hate Kamala and Obama, and MSNBC would call him an angry man who hates women and then pretend he doesn't exist. Yeah, exactly. Of course. Malcolm X was the guy who said, if you want to get people to run towards a fox, create a wolf. He's the one who said, you're a chump if you vote for the Democratic Party. He's the one who said the media. I've shown you all those clips. Shit, I'll show them right now.
Smedley Butler, are you?
Nope, not that one. There's that one. Then there's. Let's get, here's this one. Just a little Malcolm X history lesson today. Hit the like button. Share this on your social media, ladies and gentlemen. I'll find this real quick. Hold on. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Go to grabout.com to get all my products. Make sure you subscribe to the show. They've got us stuck at 71,400 some subscribers. That's nonsense. So hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification button. It may or may not work, even if you've hit it before. Sometimes they notify people. Sometimes they don't. I wish I had a better answer than that. I wish I had a better answer than that. Boom. Brown Mag 803, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Graham, we have a one party in this country that masquerades as two. Yeah, I know. That's such a such a valid point. I'd be happy with just a second party, actually. That's the thing Ralph Nader said. Vanna Dulles, Shaving Knuckles for Justice, rotate them for truth. Shaven eyebrow for justice. You got that right, brother. Thank you for supporting the show. Really, really appreciate it. Brogressive, shave your knuckles for justice. My 2020 won't be complete until Granny Petro interviews the real Greta Thunberg. We must make this happen. I would love to make that happen, dude. I would absolutely love to see that happen. That would be so cool. Seth Peterson, shave your knuckles for justice. Graham, thanks for exposing these psychopaths who run the American empire. What is it going to take for us to finally overthrow them? I don't know. Like, I'm amazed there hasn't been a full-on revolution just since the pandemic, just since the George Floyd's. I'm amazed people just haven't. I'm amazed. I guess when all the unemployment runs out and the evictions really start, then maybe that's when people will like do something. I don't know. Johnny Wishbone, thank you so much. You're making Gotham great again. Shave your knuckles for justice. I really appreciate any donation from $1 on up. The big donations like this one, $20 and up, and the big one like this one, I appreciate it because what you're helping all the people who are tight on money right now, who want to support the show but financially can't because they lost their job from COVID or whatever. So what you're doing is you're helping keep this show rolling, and you're giving a voice to a lot of other people. So thank you, Johnny, for doing that. Keep working on the Epstein story. You weren't of the few. Don't let this narrative get lost in the wash of 24-hour news cycle distraction. I won't, man. One of the reasons I wanted to have Jason on the show is some of you in the chat didn't agree with some of his other I know he's got some other stances, whatever, that's fine. But he's been on this. He's been on this hard. And I give him mad props for that. And I can talk to him about that And, you know, he's digging deep, and that's why I have Whitney Webb on this show whenever she's got something new to talk about, because she's fantastic. So I'm going to keep talking. And I've heard people in the chat say, Graham, get Sean Atwood, and I got to reach out and do that. What helps, and I've said this before, if you tag both of us on Twitter and say, hey, Sean, you should be on Graham Elwood's show, and use both of our Twitter handles, and then hopefully then we can connect, and then he and I can DM and set something up. But yeah, I've watched Sean's work. He's gone way in on this too. So he's definitely a person to have on the show. I thank you so much, man. And let's read a couple of these super chats. Eric H, shave your knuckles for justice. Thanks for upgrading the mic mount. Who is Mark S. Zaid? Not quite sure. Yeah, by the way, so I ordered an SM58 from Shure like a week or so ago. It finally showed up in the mail. So this is an even better mic. I bought the SM48 because that's what they had in stock. So now I have this SM58 and SM48 that's my backup. So now we have a backup, and I'm waiting on the Sennheiser that I ordered June 2nd. So the microphones are only going to get better, and we're going to have all these backups, so we're not going to have any more goddamn sound problems. Pray to God, knock on wood. Cureforcancer.co, what's up? Shave your knuckles for justice. Jason, what do you think of the 9/11 documentary Missing Links? Oh, I'm sorry I didn't get to that while he was on the show. Yeah, but I'm sure ask him about that. Jason's made a bunch of documentaries, which is cool. I haven't seen any of them, so that's a cool thing to support. Thank you, cureforcancer.co. If you want to know about healthy plant-based life, go to cureforcancer.co. Steve Wolf. Patrick Flood. Boom. Shave your knuckles for justice, Patrick. Jason, please elucidate Graham on CVD 1984. Oh, wow. I'm sorry we didn't get to that. We'll look into that. Thank you. Steve Wolf, Brandt, Steve, shave your knuckles for justice. Aleister Crowley is Barbara Bush's biological father. Seriously. Good Lord. It's just this all incestuous, filthy little club, isn't it? Ray Foley. Ray, what's up, brother? Ray works hard with Movement for a People's Party out of Chicago. Appreciate Jason. Thanks, Graham. Thank you so much, Ray. Mberg 33. What's up, Mark? Shave him. No notification. Glad I'm here. Hashtag draft Jesse. Go to draftjesse.com. Mberg 33 is part of the draftjesse.com. I had Richard Idris on the show about a week ago. They want Jesse to just run as an independent. They have to do all, of course, the election system is so they make it deliberately hard. You can't just write a candidate in most states. You have to get certain number of signatures and these delegates or whatever to make him qualify as a list of potential write-in candidates. So there's 39 states that he can get on the write-in ballot, which is 400 electoral votes. So Jesse Ventura could become president. So get involved with draftjesse.com. Green Party 2020. How's it going? What's up? Shave your knuckles for justice. And I say vote for Greens on the local level. Get Greens in your city council and your state assembly. Emberg 33, I sent you a DM in the volunteer group. Shave your knuckles for justice, Emberg. Yeah, I saw there's a bunch of, I get so many DMs and messages. I'll try to go through that. Thank you, Mark. Nick Thompson. Nick, haven't seen you in a while, brother. Thanks for being on the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. I think Trump might be the fall guy for the pedo ring. Followers may turn on him, and he's only one talking about Ghislaine, and then establishment erases him. Yeah. Some backroom deal is being made right now. Ghislaine is going, I got all this info. You'll never get it. They're either trying to get it while she's like making a deal, and she's got video footage of horrifying crap actually happening. She does. That's what Epstein did. So yeah, someone's going to take the fall, and she's going to get a plea deal or something like that. She's negotiating a deal right now. That's why they set the trial a year from now. Come on. Oh, Sam Dean, what's up, Sam? Shave your knuckles for justice. Hope everything's good down under. Pedos can be anyone, friendly priests, community leaders, Democrats, anyone. The most successful predators hide right in front of you. Yep. That's what they do. That's what they do. You said Cubs fans too. Yeah. Can be anybody. It can be a friend. It can be. And what's so awful, and I was talking to my friend about this, the Pritzkers on the Cubs. It can be anybody. It can be anybody. And we want our monsters to look awful, to look like, big creepy, but they're not. There's a really good documentary on Netflix about these two twin brothers. And one of them, when he was 18, had a motorcycle accident and lost his memory. And the other twin told him that they had this great childhood, and they found it when they didn't. And he says that. One of the guys in the book goes, you think a pedophile is this like creepy guy in a van? He goes, it's not. It can be your mom. It can be anybody. It can be anybody. Benadelis. We got to that one already. Okay, these are the ones we've gotten to. Okay, so there's a couple here. I think this is the right one. Anthony Chisholm, shave your knuckles for justice. See Nashville football club fans booing players' BLM protest. I did not see that. That's stupid. I'll tell you this: the MLS, I watched some of their tournament, and Portland won it, and they did a really good job. They took a knee every game. They talked about Black Lives Matter, because that's thing about soccer. Every soccer league, but in the MLS is no different, is the most diverse internet, because soccer is the world sport. We don't play American football any place else. Baseball is not played all over the world. It's played in some Central American countries. It's played in some Asian countries, but it's not played all over the world. Cricket's not played all over the world. Soccer is played all over the world. So you watch the MLS, and there's players from every continent, every country. I mean, it's just like, and so I thought the MLS did a good job. Those fans did that, boo them, fuck them. Fuck those Nashville fans. Montana Goodman, what's up, Montana? You're making Gotham great again. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hashtag general strike is trending on Twittergram. Boost it up. Everybody do that. That's what it's going to take. A general strike. Just everybody going, no. You're not going to give us unemployment. You're not going to give us health care. And make the demands real clear. We want Medicare for all. We want student debt forgiveness and a $3,000 a month UBI. Real clear. Real clear. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Montana. Let's see if I missed. I don't want to miss. Hey, Annabelle, what's up? Hey, Truth to Tweet. Graham, I wish people wouldn't say COVID-19 is a hoax. My friend's husband is now in ICU with kidney failure from coronavirus. Yeah, I've never said it's a hoax. It's a real serious thing. And I just talked to, I listen to doctors and scientists and epidemiologists, I believe that's pronounced. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. People I know that work in the healthcare, and they're like, this is for real. And now we're finding out people who had it, who showed very few symptoms, are now having heart complications, or they're going to maybe happen. There's so much we don't know. It's a new virus. We don't know. You want to say maybe it came from Fort Detrick? Fine. China, wherever, whatever. But it's real. It's a real thing. It drives me nuts when people say it's not real. The government's lying about it. Of course they're lying. The government lies about everything. That doesn't mean the virus is fake. I've said this before. If we had a massive earthquake, the government would use it as an advantage to screw people over. They would lie about stuff. They would withhold. They would use it political. They would kick around a political football, but it wouldn't mean the earthquake didn't happen. I mean, it's real. Ugh, it drives me nuts. Yes, Whitney Webb is great. Johnny Wishbone. sure I didn't miss anybody. I'm a 1%er and I voted for Jill Stein. Good for you. Whoops. Whoop. Whoop. Hold on. I'm missing one. There we go. Tisha T, what's up? How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you on the show. If I'm an alien from outer space, if an alien from outer space asked if Earth should be saved, how would you vouch for our planet's survival? I'd point out, there's some really good people doing some good work. There's a handful of some evil people. So if you have the power to get rid of them, go for it. And then there's a bunch of people who've been lied to and propagandized, and they're just uninformed. They don't know what they're talking about. So if they're willing to listen to reason, they could be flipped. If they start shooting at, like if there's a powerful alien where they could just like laser beam and just fucking bullets didn't hurt them or whatever, I'd say try to talk to them. If they get nuts and shoot you, then fucking turn them into mist. But I'd say there's some good people here. There's art. There's amazing ideas. There's people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know what I mean? Like that. We're going to save for that. Jill Stein. Let's save it for that, for these folks. Amazing artists and singers and ideas and scientists and people wanting to save the planet and do good things. Give us the power, alien race, to save this planet. That's what I would say. And if the aliens are just like, beep, bop, you're all awful, I'd be like, I'm not, I get it. Beep, beep, bop, beep, boop, bop, human race is a virus. I'd be like, I know, but give us a chance. Get rid of them. These 1%ers, the ruling class has been ruining this planet for 1,000 years. Get rid of them first. Trust me, I'd make a deal. Wipe out the billionaire ruling class. All of them. All the billionaires, the Rothschilds, the Republicans and Democrats, wipe them out. The Saudi family, the British royal family, wipe them out. Let us run the country and the world. Give us a shot. I bet you we could. And if after all the aliens wiped out the ruling class and all the evil people and the people that are bootlickers and everything, and we still fucked it up, well, then yeah, we should go. But that's the pitch I would make in this alien scenario. If I was the representative to speak on behalf of the, you never know. Maybe the aliens like vegan guns. Shave your alien knuckles for justice. Beep, beep, bop, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, bop, bop. That's how they talk. I just spoke alien. You didn't understand it, but they did. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, let me find. I'm going to make sure I didn't. Kate, what's up, Kate? Thank you for being the moderator. Show Kate some love. Shave your knuckles for justice. Ventura Turner 2020, Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, UBI. I would work so hard on that campaign. If Jesse Ventura ran, said, all right, I'm running, and Nina Turner said, I'm finally leaving the corrupt Democratic Party. And I'd be like, now, that's who I want as the first black woman vice president, Nina Turner. It'd be perfect. Jesse is older. He'd win two, and then after his 8 years, Nina would come in for 8 years, and then we'd save the. It would be great. I'd be all over that, Kate. All over it. All over it. All right, there's a couple, Tisha. All right, let me make sure I got this one. Here we go. Jamasino, making Gotham great again. Only realistic solution is to join the Convention of States to amend the Constitution. It's almost finished and we can get it done in a year. I'm up for that too, man. I'm up for that too. I talk about this book. Mike Gravel's book, The Failure of Representative Government and the Solution. He talks about the failure very briefly in the beginning, and then he goes into the solution. He just by reading and understanding what's in the rest of this book and voting in the Philadelphia 2 national election. Boom. And also support, if you want some CBD oil, go to Rail and Natural CBD, use coupon code Gotham. Arno, who used to work with Jimmy Dore Show, it's his thing. Coupon code Gotham, you save some money. Gianissimo. Kaylee Johnson. What's up, Kylie? Maybe it's Kylie. Kylie. I'm going to go Kylie. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. I just want to know, do you talk to your plants? Oh, wow. I only have one plant that one of you sent to me in the mail. Didn't think it'd survive. It did. I should talk to my plants more. I will. Thank you. Thank you, Kylie. I will talk to my plants like out loudly in front of my neighbors so they just think I'm fucking nuts. They already do. If they listen to me yelling in this, it's like 5 p.m. They're like, why is this guy still yelling? What is he yelling about? What are vegan guns? What is he saying? Was he singing? What is he singing now? My neighbors think I'm nuts. Miss Hendrick, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Who would have been a worse pick out of Kamala Harris, Warren, or Whitmer, Joe's final four? It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know. Warren's a fake progress. I mean, there's no good corporate. The Democratic Party, it's no. I don't know. I said this. Had he picked Nina Turner, which I knew he never was going to do, but had he done that, I probably would have voted for Joe Biden. Because he's so old that she would become president at some point, maybe in his first term. And I'd be like, great, then Nina Turner's president. This is fantastic. Oh boy. We need a second Bill of Rights. You got that right. Hit the like button, citizens of Gotham. Where are we at? Whoops. We do need a second Bill of Rights. Elon Musk is an alien. Liz Warren wanted to be the first woman of color. Yeah, I know. Where are we? Gotta go back and get them. Nico Mafloya. I know I'm mispronouncing that. Thank you, Nico. Thank you. Have you ever dug into flat earth stuff? The only reason I ask is because when you get deep enough, it kind of converges with the pedophilia and occult satanic rituals and NWO agenda. No. But that's crazy. I'm leery of that. Because if you're saying that the earth is actually flat and it ties into the pedophilia, if that's what you're saying, that's when I go, oh, that feels like a intelligence thing, like the CIA or the private intelligence would do something like that. So by manufacturing this tie-in, these actual horrific conspiracies like pedophiles and billionaire sex traffickers and the New World Order, by putting flat earth in there, that's how they discredit it. So that's one of the things, I think it was Operation Mockingbird, or maybe it was MK Ultra. I forget. There's so many CIA human engineering, mind control things that social engineering that I lose track. But one of the things they did was construct the term conspiracy theory. They did that after JFK so that it a conspiracy theory. They literally came up with that term knowing that it sounds like, oh, they're nutty. So, and that's one of the things we've seen they've tried to do with the Epstein stuff is to throw it into this flat earther, alien people, lizard, to discredit it. I haven't looked into it, but I will look. But I will say that's my first red flag. That's what they do. That's why they try to discredit with that kind of stuff. To just plant a little thing in there to go, because the Epstein stuff we know is true. We know the ruling class are pedophile. We know this just from documents, from victims speaking forward, from just flight logs. We know this. So then they go, that's also the flat earthers believe it. So it immediately, if they're talking flat earth, then they must be crazy about this Les Wexner Amina airport. See, that's that tactic. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But the earth is round. Emberg 33, what's up, Mark? Shaver Knuckles for Justice. The alien speech should be a segment, and would love to see you and Jesse talk about ETs. Looking forward to seeing you, Ron, Jimmy, Steph tomorrow night. Yes, tomorrow night we're doing another Zoom comedy show, Ron Placone and I, and our special guests are Jimmy Dore and Steph Samarano. The show is tomorrow night, Friday, August 14th, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Should be 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And who knows what time it is in Australia, 2 in the afternoon. It'll be noon. It'll be noon in Australia. So 7 o'clock Pacific time, Friday, August 14th. Tickets are $5. We're donating it to Fight for Your Future, which is a protect net neutrality organization. And so just go to my Venmo, which is at Graham-Elwood on Venmo. The tickets are $5. Just put when you in the comment section, say this is for the Zoom show, because you can also just donate to me. And if you just want to, hey, Graham, love your show, donate, then I'm assuming you don't want the Zoom link. If you want the Zoom link to the show, some people are like, hey, here's a donation and a ticket for the show, whatever. That's cool. Just let me know you want a ticket to the show. And then a little before 7 or right at 7 o'clock, I'll start sending people the Zoom link in Venmo. So come check that out. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that old man. That's from the Twilight Zone movie. He looks like a great day. Look at that photo. Emblem Fate. What's up, Emblem? Who'd be better date, Biden or Trump? Must answer. God. Oh, God, they're both so creepy. Maybe Biden, because he would just sniff my hair rather than try to grab me in the hoo-hoo. And Trump, I don't know. God, they're both so fucking horrible. Wouldn't want to talk to either one of them. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to listen to you talk. All right. Look at that old bone. It must be worth some bucks. Want to see something really scary? It's a good movie. Keith M. What's up, Keith M? Shave your knuckles for justice. I'm in St. Louis, and that gun-toting couple with the McCloskeys sat near me while dining outdoors last night. My breath was pettiness? Yeah. Scared. Could have joined it. They could have been part of it, and people would have cheered. They would have said, yeah, join us. Rich white couple comes out of their nice home in a gated community and joins a Black Lives Matter protest. People would have been like, yeah, they would have hugged him. They would have cheered for him. They would have said, it ain't right. Join us. Said they shoot out with the gun. Shoot black people in the gates. Ridiculous. All right. Crush Renata, what's up, Crush? CBS Boston reports $100,000 for former police chief charged in child R-word case, child rape case. Please see link here, YouTube. Okay. had to break up to post. Okay. $100,000 for former police chief charged in child rape case. Jesus, thanks for letting us know that, Crush. Let me see if I can. Let me see. How do I wait? Oh God, it's not letting me copy and paste. But I'll search that on YouTube and I'll get that video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Crush Renata again. Shave it. $100,000 bail for police chief in the child rape case. I mean, yeah, F YouTube wouldn't let me use the R word, even though it's in the story. Of course. But thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Trump just said that Kamala wasn't born here and is not eligible. See how deliberate the craziness is of the two-party system? So Trump says that thing, which is obviously racist. That's what he said about Obama, fake birth certificate. So now what we're going to do? We're going to spend the next week of the 24-hour news cycle talking about that. Is Trump saying something racist? Is it awful? Right. But that's what we're going to spend the next week talking about. Because you know what we won't be talking about? Her record as attorney general. We won't be talking about the fact she could have prosecuted Steve Mnuchin. We won't talk about that. We won't talk about her time as district attorney in the city of San Francisco, where she wouldn't reveal the names of pedophile priests, even though a victims' rights group was like, tell the names. We need to know who these people are. And she said, oh, it wouldn't be good for the victims. And the victims were like, no. We want the public to know who these awful priests are. We won't be talking about any of that. We'll be talking about this bullshit birth certificate, and idiots on Fox will say, she's Nigerian, or we're going to have that dumb conversation like what we had with Obama. Because again, we talked about that for Obama for years. We didn't talk about how he dropped more bombs than Bush. We didn't talk about that, really. We didn't talk about how he sent federal troops to occupy Wall Street and to Standing Rock and to Baltimore for Freddie Grace, but we didn't talk about that. So that's what we're going to have with this now. That's another great reason the ruling class picked Kamala Harris, because now we'll have all these conversations. And yes, we are living in a racist country, but two things can exist at once. Kamala Harris has received sexist and racist remarks said to her publicly in the workplace and will continue to. I have no doubt about that, of course. And she's a corporate Democrat that uses prison labor to fight fires. And even after these prisoners who were basically slave labor, they got paid $2 a day or something. After they got out of the prison, the records were expunged, the parole was over, all that done, they still can't get jobs as firefighters, even though they put their lives on the line. So our prison system in California and throughout America isn't even about. Wouldn't that be a great way to rehabilitate some young, maybe he's young, got in the wrong crowd, tough childhood, committed a bad crime, but then served his time, gave his debt to society, put his life on the line, putting out fires. So now he gets out of jail and now he can have a job as a firefighter, because that then reduces the rate of recidivism, meaning he becomes a criminal again. He can't get a job with the fire department. He can't get a job anywhere. So what do you think he's going to do? We're not going to talk about that for the next week. We're going to talk about what Trump just said. God damn it. Chino Latino, shave your knuckles for justice. You're making Gotham great again. Texans, electors needed ASAP for Jesse Ventura to be write-in candidate. Easy and free to sign up. Thank you so much. Chino Latino, please go to draftjesse.com. If you live in Texas, we need electors. That's the term I was looking for. That's what you need. There's 39 states. Texas is one of them where they need electors. And a lot of times it's like 50 people in a state, 35, 55 people. It's not like they need 1,000 or something like that. So go to draftjesse.com. If you live in Texas or any of the 39 states, there's 400 electoral votes in those 39 states. You want to stick it to the ruling class? get Jesse Ventura on the ballot and have 100 million people that don't typically vote show up and vote. If didn't vote was a candidate in the last election, didn't vote would have won every state, but 49 out of 50 states would have won electoral votes if didn't vote was a candidate. Imagine if didn't vote, all those people decided to get behind Jesse Ventura. This is a real thing. This isn't some pie in the sky. Let's just get 5% of the ballot and next year we'll get a blah, blah, blah. This is a thing. It's a long shot. It's a crazy long shot, but why not be a part of it? Go to draftjesse.com. Thank you, Chino Latino, for bringing that to our attention. Proud Foots, shave your knuckles for justice. The shitstorm continues. Keep punching up. You got that, brother. I will. Let's do this quick segment. Then I'm going to sing a song and we're going to get on out of here. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Oden. You are watching The Political Vigilante. Joe Biden, author of the 1994 crime bill, has just picked Kamala Harris to be his VP running mate. And they want you, young people, to be involved. Get involved, young people. They're always like, boy, you young people don't vote. They need to get, protesting is great, but they don't vote. Well, here's what you're told. Shut up. We were all you young people that voted for Bernie, you were all told, shut up, you're dumb, or Tulsi, shut up, you're dumb, shut up, you're wrong. And now we want your vote. Here's what Joe Biden really thinks about you. The Democratic Party thinks you're chumps, man. Malcolm X said this. I'm going to show you all these videos Malcolm X said in the 60s. He said, you're chumps. He said, if you, what do you talk about? Liberals? What do you talk about? The media, he called all this bullshit out back in the 60s. He called all this out. But this is who Joe Biden really is. I need you to see this.
Younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break.
That's what Joe Biden thinks of you, young folks. Having a tough time even before COVID? No jobs, no future, no nothing? Don't even have a social life? That's what he thinks of you. But at least if you want more schools and less prisons, at least Kamala Harris has got your back.
Okay, so I say with all love and warmth that part of the concern also for people who are progressive thinking and liberal minded, or just progressive thinking in terms of just fix it, is that we all have these posters in our closet that is attached to a stick that we sometimes will card out when we're talking about criminal justice policy and those statistics that you first heard when we opened it up, incarceration. And we run around with these signs, build more schools, less jails. Build more schools, less jails. And we walk around everywhere, build more schools. We protest, build more schools, less jails. Put money into education, not prisons. There's a fundamental problem with that approach, in my opinion. And it's this. I agree with that conceptually, but you have not addressed the reason I have 3 padlocks on my front door.
Yeah. No, we did. No, you just addressed it, Kamala. If we build more schools, we won't need as many jails, but you get money from the private prison industry. But keep voting Benny Blue or do. Listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a white guy. I'm mansplaining you. I don't get it. Democratic Party, they're really, really, really good.
You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you. Because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
Wow. Calling it out back in the 60s. Here's what else he had to say.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
But Malcolm X got what was coming. He got what he asked for this time. So love me, love me, love me. I'm a liberal. Get it?
He said it back then. White people that are actually trying to help. I don't call myself a liberal. I don't even call myself a progressive anymore. The neoliberal, the white liberal, the vote any blue will do crowd. That's who they are now. They're dangerous. They think they're better than the Trump supporter who says he never lies. And some of those Trump supporters, they're like cult members. They're crazy cult members. They don't want to listen to facts, but neither do they. They don't want to listen to it. They don't want to listen. They don't want to watch that video that I just showed you of Kamala Harris mocking people that wanted more schools and less prisons. They don't want to watch that video of Joe Biden mocking poor young people. Millennials and Gen Z have it the hardest. They got no future. It's gone. The COVID took it away. It was gone before then. They can never going to be able to buy a house. And the media does it. But Malcolm X, he knew about the nonsense of the media. Russia. Remember Russia? They were our allies in World War II.
So instead of legislation, in my opinion, it takes education. The whites have to be re-educated so that the racism that they have in their heart can be eliminated, and our people have to be re-educated so that we will know how to do something for ourselves instead of waiting for others to do it for us all the time. Well, how will that re-education be brought about? Well, just as in World War II, this country could use its news media to propagandize and make the whole American public love the Germans and the Japanese, rather love the Russians and the Chinese and hate the Germans and the Japanese. And then after the war, they changed it and made the American public love the Germans and love the Japanese, hate the Russians and hate the Chinese, which shows that they can make the American public love whom they will and hate whom they will. And that same process can be used to re-educate the American public and show white people how to love black people and show black people how to do something to stand on our own feet and solve our own problems.
So when Joe Biden tweets out, Kamala Harris will fight. One of the reasons I picked her is she's been fighting the banks. He put that out on Twitter, and all these dummy blue check neoliberals on Twitter were like, yeah. She didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin. She let him steal thousands of people's homes in California, my home being one of them. He just called it out. How do they do this? The propaganda multiplier. The White House, CIA, and the Pentagon feed these main media outlets, and they do all. It's exactly what he explained. He's absolutely correct. During World War II, there were Hollywood-made movies. Gregory Peck, I forget the name of the movie, but he played this it's a black and white movie where he played part of the Russian resistance. And Joseph Stalin was depicted as this like grandfather, the old man, fighting the Nazis and helping our allies together. Same with China, fighting the Japanese. Well, now Russia and China are hurting us economically, so they're the bad guys. And I always include this. This is just news media they put in this, but I would include show business, entertainment. The last season, what was it? Season 3 of Stranger Things. Who was the bad guys? Russians. What Oscar won for best documentary? Icarus, talking about the corruption of Putin. And sure, yeah, he cheated with steroids, but we cheat all the time with steroids. Lance Armstrong. Like, you see how this works? This is how they push Russiagate to get everybody to believe Russiagate. This is how are we going to afford Medicare for all? How are we going to pay for that? This is all came down here. This is why none of these people go, how can we spend so much money on war? They're not allowed to do that. Hey, wait a minute. In Epstein's black book was 2 presidents. The CIA was working with Epstein. So the CIA was like getting children for pedophiles. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. You see? See how it works? If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Well, those people taking down statues and causing problems in Portland and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Wake up, kids. Whether you're a Trumper or a vote any blue will do person, they're coming for you. The ruling class doesn't give a shit if you vote for Joe Biden. Because if Joe Biden becomes president, there's unmarked vans are going to snatch you up off the streets too. Because federal officers beat the shit out of people during Occupy Wall Street. That was Obama and Biden years. Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. And they're doing it now. So the Trumpers who think they're safe, like, oh, only those hippies in Portland are going to get, no, they're going to come snatch you up. They don't care about your MAGA hat. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about your American Eagle beer can. They don't care about, and if Biden and Harris are in the White House, they won't care. They won't care if you have a Kamala 2020. They won't care. They won't care. They're going to beat the shit out of you. There's the ruling class. There's not 2 parties. There's 2 classes. There's the 1% and all of us. Malcolm X called this out 60 years ago, 55, 60 years ago. I don't know. Wake up or keep saying lesser of 2 evils. Well, and then in 4 years, then we'll get a progressive in there. Just Biden for right now is the stopgap. And then that's what we said about Bill Clinton in 1992. We really wanted Jerry Brown, but I'll take Bill Clinton. And I said no in 96. I voted third party. And friends were like, well, you're going to let what was Bob Dole? Bob Dole's going to win in 96. You're going to let Bob. They keep falling for it. 30 years, the Democratic. Well, once Biden gets in there, then we'll move him to the left. That's never going to happen. Once somebody gets elected, they don't need. You cannot. Nobody moved Bill Clinton to the left. Nobody moved Obama to the left. Obama said in an interview, I'm more like a Republican, because the Democratic Party has gone so far to the right. They're like the Republican Party of the 80s, the Reagan Republican Party. And the Republican Party now, they're just fascists. Well, I'll take the Republican Party over the fascist. Oh, Jesus Christ. Keep moving to the right and thinking you're sitting in a pot of boiling water telling me don't get a ladder to climb out. Thanks for watching the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. All right, kids. All right, kids. 60 years ago. Yep. Make sure I'll read these super chats and we'll sing a song and get on out of here. I'm getting hungry. I've been standing and talking for 2 hours. I am ready to rock and order the roll. Not all of them are in this thing. Yeah, it always bums me out when that happens. Emblem fade, shave your knuckles for justice. A better quote to describe the need for schools than Kamala hates so much would be the Malcolm X cycle of poverty. Look it up. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll look that quote up. I'll do that again. That's awesome. Thanks, man. I'm sure we'll be talking about this for a while. I'm sure we will. Hold on. Where are they? Oh, there we go. Crush Renata, shave your knuckles for justice. Yes, from FBI's mouth to Whoopi's and teleprompter, and Graham, GOP will be last to face the stormtroopers. They're smart enough to be armed. Yeah, that's the one thing. They are like, oh, we don't want to go after these Second Amendment folks too hard. That's why they gave them a pass in Michigan when people with Nazis and automatic weapons took over the Capitol building. Just let that happen. Peaceful protesters show up. Oh, we can beat the shit out of them and nightstick them. No, I know. It's a valid point. It is a valid point. Kate, what's up, Kate? Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Dying to find out if Harris is still for Med for All and Green New Deal. Biden is against both. She only supported when she thought it was impossible. Yep. Oh, she won't be for that at all. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. She has the most like billionaire donors of anybody. There's no way she'll be for that. They're going to be, if she says that, they're going to sit her down and go, no. That ain't happening right now. Yeah, but we're in a pandemic. People really need free healthcare. Toe the line. Gina G, what's up? Gina G. Got my vigilante and tea in the mail last week. Thanks for rocking the merch and the hard work. Thank you, Gina. Thanks for supporting my show. You can do what Gina did. You can go to grahamelwood.com. There's only 20 some tins of the Vigilante Volume 2. I won't make it again. It's a limited thing. It's numbered on the back. And then, and that's the other thing. If you order anything, I got extra t-shirts and little swag. So anything you buy from me, I'll throw in a little something extra. Little autograph something. I got all this extra little swag things you'll get. So you'll get more for your money. It's free shipping. You get a DVD and tee for $25. You get a t-shirt and the tee for 30. GrahamelWood.com. All right. What are we singing? Tees, shirts. Motor City, what's up? They will want to restore everything Obama did, so Obamacare will be all she will support. Yeah, and they'll go, look at all these victories, and all they do will just bring us back to the neoliberal policies of Obama. And all these Vote Any Blue will do, people will go, look, we're kicking ass. No, we need free health care, but at least it's better than Trump. And they'll just keep, okay, but then demand more. Demand more. I thought you were going to, I thought we were all going to, you were going to pull Joe Biden to the left. Oh, what are you going to do when he doesn't? Just say, oh, he's better than the Republicans. Okay. Keep doing that. Murder by Numbers. Ooh, I'll sing that. Throw in a gold watch. Rock and roll all night. Ooh. When you send a surf party for Shimshay, I'm worried he's stuck meditating somewhere. Well, he's in another astral plane, but he'll be there at the show tomorrow night on Zoom. Shimshay will be there. Granny Petrol will be there. Maybe even Darien. Yeah, he just goes on these meditation retreats and he just goes off the grid for a while. He'll be back tomorrow night. Granny Petrol should sing Money for Nothing. Oh, I'll sing that as Granny Petrol. Shim Shady. Jenny Miko Like Me. Love Darien. Yes. Me too. Trouble Every Day. I don't know that song. All right. Let's sing. Oh, you just something I forget so quickly. Money for Nothing. Oh. Hold on. Just got to wait for this Invisalign ad to end. All right, let me go get Granny and we'll sing this song. Hello, it's Granny Petrol here to sing you another song. Oh, Greta, getting all your donations from all your Hollywood friends. It's almost like she's getting money for nothing. Angry at adults, shutting down pipelines, mocking hard-working little startups like ExxonMobil and Shell Oil in the pocket of Big Green. Well, here's a little song for you, Greta, since you're so busy encouraging children to not go to school, not to play in coal mines or have fun on an oil slip and slide. The music. I don't hear any music at all. This feels like a big lie. Oh, we're going to find the right song. Greta probably stopped it. Ruined it for everybody. Oh, well, here we go. I don't know if it's working or not. Oh, we got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchens, deliveries. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. Not riding the boat across the Atlantic, yelling at adults, telling children not to go to school, saying coal mines are dangerous, which they're not. They're fun. Children enjoy coal mines. I played one as a child. That's why I'm so healthy. We got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchens, deliveries. There should be 800 of them. We got to move these refrigerators. Got to move these color TVs. But you don't work. You don't like people having jobs. Look at that. I should have learned to play the guitar. Yeah, I should have learned to play them drums. Look at that, Mama. She got it sticking in the cameraman. You could have some fun. And he's up there with that Hawaiian noise as well, banging on the bongos. Not working, not enjoying oil. Like a chimpanzee, oh, that ain't nothing. That's the way you do it. Get your money for nothing, Greta, and your chicks for free. Now we gotta install microwave ovens, custom kitchens, deliveries. Work, decent work. Going on Twitter, spewing lies that Big Green paid you to do. You gotta move these color TVs, that's work. Not push the lies of the salad consortium and organic fruit mafia. Oh yeah. Listen here, brother. Listen here. That ain't working. That's the way you do it, Greta. You play the guitar on your MTV and you go on your Twitter and your Instagram and your TikToks and you spew the lies that the spinach lobby group wants you to, because they pay you, Greta. We all know you're on the tape. What's that? Oh, look at that. What's that, Greta? Another school strike? With a mean Twitter feed? Telling Granny Petrol she's bad? I never talked to adults that way. We would talk to have money for nothing. We didn't have money for nothing. We would talk to adults with respect. You know? We enjoyed pipelines. We painted them. They were fun. Drank oil. Look at me. I'm great. I'm 37 years old, Greta. I don't look a day over 20. Well, I'm going to brush my teeth with coal. What's up? What's up, everybody? Wait, do the lyrics have spinach in it? Yes. Way better than Granny 24. This big time kale has met its match. Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for supporting the show. Fun broadcast. Tomorrow at 4:00 Pacific time, I will do Government Secrets with Lee Camp. That'll be at 4:00. It usually it's just about an hour, and we're just going to do Government Secrets, and I'll answer the super chats and then wrap it up. Because I'm going to want that show to end pretty close to 5:30 so that we can do the comedy show at 7. So live tomorrow, 4:00 Pacific time with Lee, and then comedy show at 7:00. Join us. Go to grahamelwood.com. Support the show. I really love doing this. Thank you for supporting everything that I do and letting me keep this pearl necklace. I forgot to take this off. And also Government Secrets is now on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher and Google Play. All that stuff. All the platforms it's on. So check it out. Thanks for watching the show. Thank you, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice. Remember, you're making Gotham great again.